Pocket FM.
To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.
Is Thomas just a friend? Or do I want him to be something more? Amelia thought long and hard about Faith's question. She honestly wasn't sure. He was easy on the eyes, and she definitely enjoyed his sparkling company. But she only just learned the truth about his identity a few hours ago. So she really barely knew the man. And while their golf date was wonderful when it started, it got hijacked by the arrival of two emotional vampires who drained the sanity out of her. First, Charles confessed his love to her with a kiss. And then Javier locked her in a bathroom to chastise her and threaten her with a spanking. Overall, Amelia's mind had been too much of a mess to reflect on what the date meant for her and Thomas. I don't know. I'm not sure yet, Amelia said with her face scrunched up in uncertainty. Faith wasn't buying it. Ames, when you look over at that adorable man on my couch, do you feel butterflies? Does your heart skip a beat? Amelia peeked out to look at Thomas, handsomely seated on the couch, and she did feel a smile light up her face. I guess he does make me smile and laugh, which God knows I need. But with all the mess I have going on in my life, I think it's best if we're just friends for now, Amelia said calmly. Faith eyed her, still a bit skeptical. Are you sure? It's hard to believe this isn't romantic when you're using my kitchen to make a special home-cooked meal for him. Amelia had forgotten to tell Faith this next part. This is actually a thank you dinner because it was Thomas who made it possible for me to take my certification. He did that? Faith was confused. But wasn't it the prince who helped you get into the Council of Foreign Affairs? At the mention of the prince, Amelia's mind flickered back to their earlier confrontation in the men's room, and a complicated expression crossed her face. Turns out Javier had nothing to do with it. Later that day, around 6 p.m., Javier came home earlier than usual after telling Victor to cancel the rest of his evening engagements. Javier parked himself in the living room, and Mr. Grant inquired about dinner. Would you like dinner to be served now? The kitchen has everything prepared. The prince glanced at his watch and rolled up his shirt sleeves. Where is Amelia? He asked coldly. She hasn't returned yet, informed Mr. Grant. Javier frowned and said, let's wait. The butler bowed silently and retreated. Just then, Max came padding down the stairs in his cozy pajamas and fuzzy slippers. Peeking into the living room, he spotted his father going over documents on the sofa and was quick to sense his particularly foul mood. Max approached cautiously and curled up on the sofa beside him. Dad? Javier's gaze swept over him. Sit properly. Max furrowed his brow, but quickly sat up straight so he'd listen to him. Dad, are you waiting for Mom to come home and cook for you? Max asked sweetly. I'm not, Javier quickly denied with a chilly tone. Really? 'Cause I heard you tell Mr. Grant to wait on dinner. Javier put down his documents, irked. You're talkative this evening. Max frowned. I was just going to tell you that if you're waiting for Mom, you should just eat now. It's getting late, and she must have forgotten about cooking dinner for you. Javier's face grew even darker as his eyes lingered on the documents in front of him. Dad, why don't we just eat dinner without her? I'm so hungry, Max pleaded. Realizing the little one was hungry, Javier relented with a nod and called the butler over. Mr. Grant, Max is hungry. You can serve the meal. The house staff served dinner in the dining room, but Max was the only one eating at the table. He sat happily gnawing on a chicken leg. Meanwhile, Javier was still in the living room, glancing at his watch for the third time. Sir, the butler approached cautiously. Perhaps you should eat something. No need, he said without looking up from his documents. But the butler was concerned about Javier not eating. After all, his body needed nutrition as it was still healing from major wounds. I had the kitchen prepare a soup. Would you like to try it? Javier spoke firmly. I said no. I'm not hungry. The butler sighed and retreated quietly, unwilling to provoke the boss by pressing the issue further. A couple of hours later, the house phone rang, and the servant who answered it came looking for Max. Sir Max, your mother is on the phone. She's asking to speak with you. Mom's calling. Max's eyes lit up as he ran toward the phone. But right before he got to it, Javier intercepted it and lifted the receiver. But before he could speak, Max grabbed it from him. Dad, the maid said Mom wants to talk to me, not you, Max protested. With a scowl, Javier handed over the phone. I was just passing it to you. Max squinted suspiciously at him. Were you really? Without responding, Javier turned and ascended the stairs, his expression unreadable. Hi, Mom, Max chirped into the phone. Hi, baby. Have you been good and taken your bath yet? Amelia's voice came through, warm and teasing. Max sniffed his arm dramatically and giggled. Yes, I smell extra soapy and clean right now. How come you're not home yet? I don't think I'll be coming home tonight, sweetheart. Oh, are you still on a date with the guy from this morning? Of course not, Amelia laughed. I'm having a sleepover at your godmother's tonight. It's been a while since Mom had a girls' night, so we thought it might be fun. Oh, okay, but Max hesitated, then glanced upstairs before continuing. But, Mom, if you're not coming home, what about Dad's dinner? What about it? Amelia asked, puzzled. You did all that work on it in the morning. You're not gonna come home tonight to make it? You should tell Dad I think he hasn't eaten because he's waiting for it. Amelia blinked in confusion. What are you talking about? I never said I would make dinner for your dad. Now Max was confused. You didn't? But all the food you made this morning, Dad said, Honey, that food was for my date today. I cooked the meal for him at Faith's house, Amelia clarified. Max froze, and his eyes widened in realization. Oh no, his dad had completely misunderstood who his mom intended to make that meal for. Poor Dad, Max thought. He'd been waiting all day for a dinner that was never his in the first place. As Max mulled over how pitiful his father's situation was, he heard the sharp click of the upstairs receiver being slammed down. Max, suddenly, whispered into the phone. Mom, I think Dad was eavesdropping on our conversation. On the other end of the call, Amelia pinched her brow in frustration. Why was this man listening in on her call with her son? Didn't he do enough today? By the time Amelia and Max ended their call, Max was feeling a big pang of sympathy for his father. So he hung up and immediately ran to find the butler. Mr. Grant! Mr. Grant! Yes, Sir Max. The butler rushed over. Can you please have the kitchen make some plates and take them upstairs? Dad's definitely not coming down for dinner tonight, and I don't think he's gonna ask for it himself. The butler looked confused, but nodded. Understood. I'll see to it. Back at Faith's apartment, Amelia was in the bedroom, seated on the bed, replaying the phone call in her head. She still couldn't fathom why Javier had been listening in. Sensing that Amelia's mind was overthinking, Faith chimed in. You have a perfectly dreamy bedroom at the Prince's Villa, yet you prefer to crash here at my place? What's that about? Is my glowing personality just that good? Faith asked, not looking up from her phone game. Amelia hit her with a pillow. Are you complaining? Would I dare disrespect the mother of the Prince of Spain's son? You know you're more than welcome to stay the night. Amelia leaned in with a playful smile. Only one? Faith paused her game and sat up to stare at her. Are you planning on extending your stay? Amelia sat with her arms wrapped around her knees, lost in thought. After the intense confrontation between her and Javier today, she wasn't ready to face him yet. Meanwhile, in Javier's study, he had no appetite for dinner. Anger had effectively filled his stomach, leaving no room for food. The butler brought some dinner upstairs as Max requested, but it was sent back down moments later, untouched. From down the hall, Max peeked into the study where he saw his dad at his desk, using work to distract him from the things he was feeling. Max sighed deeply, truly feeling bad for his dad. After some internal debate, he decided to risk approaching the stormy Javier to try and comfort him. Max's little hands knocked twice on the study door, but there was no response. Undeterred, he announced boldly, "Dad, I'm coming in," and pushed the door open without waiting for permission. He padded softly across the room in his fuzzy slippers and stopped before his desk. Javier sat there with his face dark as a thundercloud, flipping through a book. His gruff movements made a loud snap, snap sound with each turn. Max imitated his father's seriousness and pulled out a book filled with foreign words he didn't understand. He then flipped through it with exaggerated intent. Javier glanced at Max and couldn't help but chuckle. Is that what I look like? There's no way I make duck lips like those. Max burst into laughter. Duck lips? Ducks don't have lips, Dad. No? What do they have then? Beaks? Max shook his head. Actually, they have bills. Javier tilted his head and studied his son proudly. His previously sour mood dissipated with each of Max's laughs. Well, my 5-year-old son taught me something new today. Max's smile widened. You're welcome, he said, stepping closer to Javier. Dad, I'm sorry you're upset that Mom isn't home. I miss her too. I'm sure you do, but I'm not upset, buddy. You don't have to worry about me, okay? Max sweetly patted his dad's knee. You didn't eat dinner. When I'm upset, I don't eat much either. But you have to eat so you don't get weak and sick. Javier didn't want Max to be concerned, and he certainly didn't want Amelia hearing that he was feeling her absence. Gently, he reached for Max's chin and tilted his face so their eyes met. Son, I ate plenty today. I'm just not hungry right now. I promise that if I need food, I'll go get some. Max nodded slowly. You know, I wish you did miss Mom. That would mean you loved her too, and maybe you'd date her and we'd be one happy family. Javier briefly closed his eyes as the thought of Amelia and Max beside him sent warmth coursing through him. But all too quickly, reality snapped him back. Whatever Amelia was looking for, it wasn't a future with him. Taking a deep breath, Javier calmly said, Max, your mom and I aren't going to date, but we'll both always be by your side, no matter what. You know that, right? Max pursed his lips and nodded. He knew he shouldn't push the subject anymore, but that didn't mean his hope of a happy family would die that night. Grown-ups had a way of lying to themselves, but Max knew what he knew. He gave his dad a big hug, wishing Javier would realize his feelings before it was too late. Good night, Dad, Max said as he walked to the door. Hey, Max, Javier called out. I'm going out of town for work in the morning. I'll be back in 2 days and we can do something fun together. Does that sound good? Max's eyes lit up. I can't wait. The next morning, Javier left town for his work trip. And when he returned home 2 days later, The household staff came out to greet him. Max, still awake, ran up and threw himself into Javier's arms.
Dad, I saw you on TV.
Holding the child tightly, Javier felt a rare sense of satisfaction. I brought you back a surprise. Javier handed him a toy robot dog, and Max's eyes lit up.
A robo-dog? Dad, you're the best.
Smiling, Javier scooped Max up in one arm. I got your mom one too. Think it'll make her laugh? Scanning the area, he asked, Where is Amelia? Miss Rivera hasn't returned home since she left that day, Mr. Grant replied. Javier's face instantly darkened. What do you mean she hasn't returned?
To find out what happens next, download the Pocket FM app in the next minute to get free access to all episodes of The Royal Accident for free.
Pocket FM.
To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.